Good afternoon, family. Today I will be doing my Celebrity Black Love series reading on Biggie and Faith. Um, I'm a huge Tupac fan, so I didn't really get into too much of Biggie until I got older. But energetically, I'm just going to tap into their relationship, and whatever comes through, and I'll relay the messages to you guys as I go. The first energy that I'm tapping into is Biggie's energy, Christopher's. He prefers if I call him Christopher. So the first energy that I'm tapping into is Christopher's, and immediately I hear him saying to me, "I was just a kid," and he's referring to not only his relationships romantically, but his life period, being in the business. He said that he was moving really fast. Life was coming at him really, really fast. He said that I got into music because it was something that I enjoyed. It was a passion of mine and it was fun. But the more I got into the business, the less fun it became for me because it was so much um, that kind of came with that. So he just said that he was a kid. He's also acknowledging his first relationship. So this goes back to his the mother of his daughter, Jan. He's saying that I wasn't mature enough to handle that relationship at the time. He talks really smooth, you guys. Like he talks really um, just. He takes his time when he's talking. You know, he's very controlled, very calm and collected. But he's saying that he wasn't mature enough for the relationship with Jan. Um, he's saying that he was just getting into the streets. You know, he's saying I was trying to provide for my family. And he's also saying that I was scared. You know, when she told me that she was pregnant, he's saying that I was terrified. I was scared. You know, I didn't have a father growing up. And I didn't know what type of father to be or how to be a father to anyone. He's also acknowledging that he felt some hurt because his father was not in his life. He's saying that, you know, when you come from the ghetto, when you come from the streets, you're expected to put on this type of tough exterior. He's saying that, and I did that, you know, but deep down inside, I really wanted my father to be in my life, and I questioned why he was not in my life. And he's also saying that his mother would give him very vague answers. He's saying that I would ask my mom about my pops from time to time, and she would give me very vague answers about it. So I just kind of felt that it was something that, you know, caused her much pain, and I left it alone. But I never stopped wondering, you know, why he wasn't a part of my life, and it never stopped affecting me. Um, as well. And he's saying that when I became a father, you know, it was really hard for me to connect to my daughter at first because I didn't have a sense of, you know, understand that dynamic. He's saying I didn't understand that dynamic between a father and a child because I didn't experience that. Um, he's also saying that the only thing I understood was that I needed to grind, I needed to hustle, I needed to provide. So that's what I did. He's saying I went into the streets and I began, you know, selling dope to provide for my daughter and my girl at the time. And he's also saying that Jan worked as well. So he's saying that that was one of the things that they didn't show in the Notorious movie. He's saying that she worked. You know, she held down her own. She had a job. So I didn't. She didn't need me to give her anything. Um, and he's also acknowledging that they had a really good relationship. He also is saying that as the years went on and the more he got deeper into the business, he's saying that he kind of felt like Jan was the one who got away. He's saying that he began to kind of look back on that relationship and kind of regret how he dealt with that relationship. But he's also acknowledging that they did remain very good friends. He's saying that I could call her at any time and talk to her, and vice versa. We had a really good friendship. She was like my best friend. Um, he's also acknowledging that most of the downfall of the relationship, um, you know, he's taking a lot of responsibility for that. He's saying that I was, you know, busy trying to make something shake. I was busy trying to hustle. And Jan was trying to build a family. She was trying to build a foundation. And I was too immature at the time to appreciate what she was trying to bring into my life. And I just wasn't mature enough to handle that relationship. So he's acknowledging that. Okay. And he's also acknowledging that his mother really liked Jan as well. He's saying that my moms and Jan really got along. And even though she was disappointed in me for having a kid so soon, he's saying that she um, really embraced being a grandmother when Tiana was born, is what he's saying. Okay, so he's acknowledging that, and he's moving along now. He's moving into going into his teenage years, into getting his record deal. He's saying that those were very tumultuous years for him because he was just trying to find himself as a man. He's saying that I dropped out of high school. I didn't really graduate, so I was trying to find myself as a man. I was trying to figure out how to provide and how to still be there for my family and not get caught up. He said, I saw so many cats going to jail, doing time for selling drugs. And he's saying that that's not, I acknowledge that I needed to be here for my daughter and my family. So I was trying to find a way out of the ghetto, but there weren't too many options. And he's also saying he got addicted to the fast money. He's saying that I got addicted to the fast money, the lifestyle. He's saying that I had no intentions on being a drug dealer for a long time. I just wanted to make enough money to do some things, to kind of plant myself, to ground myself. And he's saying that then it became kind of like an addiction for me because I love the money. And he's also saying that a lot of the younger cats in the neighborhood looked up to me. He's saying that I would throw them $1 here, $1 there, and they looked up to me. And so he liked the feeling of, he liked that feeling of feeling like people, looked up to him and they admired him in that way. He's also saying that that's kind of how he met C's. He said, I met C's just from being on the block. I saw little dude wasn't really doing too much with his life, so I took him under my wing. Kind of something that I would have wanted someone to do for me, or what I would wanted someone to have done for me in that point of my life. Okay, and he's also going into meeting little Kim as well. He's saying that when I first signed my deal with Puff, I knew immediately that I wanted to eventually be my own boss. He's saying that was always the goal for me. I didn't want to be an artist. I wanted to be the boss. I wanted to be Puff. He's saying that I studied him. I studied how he moved. I studied how he handled business, and I was kind of putting myself in a position to have my own empire. He said I wanted my own. I didn't want to work for him. I didn't want to work for anybody. And he's saying that they will bump heads about this a lot because he's saying I ain't just take his shit. Like I wasn't the type to conform to what he wanted. He's also saying that Puff has a side to him that the public didn't see. Like he was very controlling, very demanding, very hard on his artists. But it was a different dynamic between he and I because I already had the mentality of a boss. And he's saying, I think he saw that in me. He's also saying that Puff came to me for a lot of advice. I knew he wanted to get into the music business. I knew he wanted to be an artist. And so we kind of showed each other some shit. He's saying he was showing me how to be in the business. He was showing me the business, and I was showing him how to be an artist. But he's saying that money was the thing that was important to me at the end of the day. I wanted to make sure that my family was straight. I wanted to make sure that my moms wouldn't want for nothing. I wanted to make sure that my daughter would be good. That was like the goal. He said when I met Kim and I saw that she had this talent, I knew that she was beautiful and I acknowledged that, but the goal for me was to work together, to make music, to make money. And he said, I always try to keep sight of that with Kim, and I always tried to get her to keep sight of that. He's also saying that he's acknowledging that um, he, this relationship with Kim, he's saying it didn't start off with them getting romantically involved. He's saying I was adamant and I was determined to keep her as an artist. You know, I wanted to make sure I separated the personal from the business. But he said I was thinking with my but he's also saying that I was thinking with my dick and I allowed that to control the dynamics of that relationship, you know. But he's also saying that I never saw her as my wife. I never saw her as wife material. Um, he's saying that I thought she could handle us kind of doing our thing on the side and then handling business when we needed to. And he's also saying that she presented that image to me, that she would be able to handle, you know, doing us on the side. And when it was time to put that away and do business, then it was time to put that away and do business. And I didn't respect how she allowed her emotions to get the best of the business. He's also saying that she would do things to try and make him jealous, like she would talk to other guys in front of his face. She would do things to kind of catch his attention. But he's saying that he's also acknowledging, he's like, a wife wouldn't do that. A wife wouldn't move that way. So it was kind of hard for him to take her serious in that aspect. But he's also acknowledging that at some point, you know, he did feelings for her. He's also saying that he was though he was never in love with her, he did catch feelings for her. So there's an acknowledgement of that like I had feelings for I cared about her. I had feelings for her. I was invested in her, but I was not in love with her. I could never he's saying I didn't trust her. And so I could never quite let my guard down to completely fall head over heels. But there was some feelings there and he's saying I was jealous. You know, if she would go off and do her thing, I would get jealous, and if I went off and did my thing, she would get jealous. So it was like a toxic um, love hate relationship. Like they would continuously draw each other back to each other. You know, he was saying there were times where I would try to cut things off with Kim, and she would suck me back in, and there were times where she would try to cut me off, and I wasn't having it. So I would suck her back in, and that's just kind of how it went. He's saying even after I got married, that was kind of like the dynamic that we had. And I was too selfish. He's also acknowledging that he's saying I was too selfish to let her go. I was too selfish to allow her to move on emotionally because, I had feelings for her and I didn't want to see her with anybody else, even though I knew I wasn't going to be serious about her. So he has a lot of regret for that because he acknowledges that he played with her feelings emotionally. And he's saying that he was just, again, he's saying I was just a kid. I didn't know um, how to deal with that. I didn't know how to keep my feelings out of it once they got involved. And I also didn't know how to deal with her emotions because she's a very emotional person, very emotional. Now he's moving forward and he's taking me into his marriage with Faith and how they met. And he's also saying that he did not think that being with Faith would turn into a marriage. He's saying that we started off just kicking it, just having, like, just chilling with each other. And I didn't think that that would turn into a relationship. But he's saying that she was just so cool, so down to earth, and she was beautiful. And he's saying that he was very smitten with her looks. Um, he's also acknowledging, he's saying that Faith was the first woman that I felt was out of my league that gave me attention. And so it was like a kid in a candy store. I wanted more. And also, he's saying that Puffy kind of insinuated that this would be a good look. He kind of gave the thumbs up on them being in a relationship. It's kind of like, yeah, that's a good look for you. You should do that. I can see where that will make business sense, you know. So he kind of pushed the idea of them being together as well. But Big is saying that nobody could make me do anything. I was my own man, and I was very firm and steadfast in what I wanted and how I felt. And I had no problems letting niggas know how I felt or how I, or what my feelings about the situation were. He said I genuinely did fall for Faith, and he said I was an emotional person. I, fell in love pretty easily, is what he's telling me. I loved women. I really loved women. He's saying that with Faith, it's just that we formed this really tight knit friendship. Like he was like chilling with her was kind of like kicking it with one of the guys. Like she gave me that type of vibe. It was a real cool homie lover friend vibe that she gave me when we were together. And so I'm sorry, you guys. And so that kind of kept me coming back to her. But he also said that he's acknowledging that they moved too fast. He's saying we moved too fast. We should have took our time with that relationship. And he's also saying that his mother told him the same thing. He said, my mom's tried to tell me that we were moving too fast and we needed to slow down. But, I was in love. What can you say? He said, I was in love. Like, I wasn't trying to hear none of that. I really genuinely had feelings for her. And I can see for Faith where it took her a little longer tapping into her energy. It took her a little longer to kind of gain those feelings that Big had off the bat, because she didn't feel what he felt in the beginning as deeply as he felt it. He felt it a little more deeper than she did, but yeah, Puff got in her ear. So Puff was in Big's ear, kind of telling him like, okay, this is a good move. You should do this. You should do that. But he was also in her ear as well, telling her the same thing. This is a good move. You should do that. And so for her, I think it was more like, this makes sense. This, I can see where this will make sense. And she did have feelings for him. She did love him, but the love for her kind of wore off very quickly. That love didn't stay for long because he was doing a lot, on the sidelines. He was cheating and he was still dealing with Kim and all of that. So her love kind of was gone, like it was there and then it was gone. She got tired and fed up very quickly with how things were going. And also, she's the type of person that, if she's lacking something in her relationship, it's nothing for a man to come in and kind of get her attention. So she was flirting and doing little stuff on the side herself. So there was no exclusiveness in this marriage. From the beginning, there was no exclusiveness in this marriage. And she also acknowledges that, Kim loved him more than I ever could have. She acknowledges that because Kim did love Big. She gave him everything she had. She invested a lot of herself into that relationship. But he also, she had no self-respect. And I think that's what I'm hearing from him. He's saying that she didn't respect herself. So I didn't respect her. And it wasn't a deal breaker for her. Like, it wasn't a deal breaker for her if he didn't respect her, if he called her out of her name, if he was just with another woman the night before. Like, that wasn't a deal breaker for Kim. And it was a turn off for him. Like, she just, he says, I grew up with a strong woman. He's acknowledging that his mother was a strong woman. He said, my mom's was one of the strongest women I knew. So I couldn't be with a weak woman. He said, I couldn't see me being with a weak woman. And he's acknowledging that he felt that Kim was weak. Okay. But he's taking me back to Faith now. And he's also saying that there was no trust in the marriage. He's saying she didn't trust me. I didn't trust her. There was just no trust. And there was no time put into the marriage. They were constantly working. They were constantly touring. They were constantly on the road. And he's also saying that I got with her because I felt like I finally had somebody who understood me. I finally had somebody who understood the nature of the business. And another thing I think he really liked about Faith is that she didn't nag him. She wasn't a nag. Like, she wasn't the type to worry about what he was doing and where he was at. In the beginning, this is how she was. Again, giving off that homie lover friend vibe. But I think once they got more into the marriage and there was infidelity going on and all of that, she kind of backed off. She just wasn't feeling it anymore. And she really stopped questioning him and what he was doing and where he was at. Um, and even though the love was there in the beginning, that it kind of wore off quickly. And that wasn't just on Faith's behalf either. This was also on Big's behalf. The love kind of faded for him quickly, even though he does have a lot of respect for her. He has a lot of love and respect for her, but he was not truly in love with her either. He's saying that women was his downfall. He's acknowledging that women, he said, women was my downfall. I loved women. And I loved the life that I lived. I was in love with the lifestyle, and that was kind of like my biggest downfall. I didn't. He says he also regrets not spending more time with his children. He said the things that were important to me. I didn't hold. I should have held it closer. I was too worried about partying. I was too worried about money. I was too worried about things that, you know, at the end of the day have no relevance. But he's also saying that when he had his car accident, he's like, um, that brought me back. He's saying that scared me, and I was ready to make changes. I was ready to do something different with my life. And he's saying I didn't know that it would be too late, but he was in the process of making changes. He's saying that I was in the process of becoming my own business. I was getting ready to start my own label. He's also saying that he was getting ready to start his own clothing line. He wanted to open his own restaurant. He's saying something about Big Papa's. He's saying that I was really trying to expand, and I really wanted to leave a legacy and a mark for my children and my mother. He's also saying that there was some disagreements that he was having with Puff over business. He's saying that there was some issues with them regarding business. And I don't want to get too deep into a big reading because this is my Black Love series, but I'm going to go back and do a more in-depth reading on him because there's a lot that's coming out, the spirit is saying. This relationship, as far as the marriage with um, Faith, he's saying that we moved too fast, period. And we didn't put enough time into the marriage. There was no trust in the marriage. I was doing me, she was doing her. It crumbled quickly. He's saying it crumbled very quickly. And even though he has a lot of respect and a lot of love for her, he's also saying that they were in the process. He's saying I was in the process of getting a divorce before my death. He's saying I really was in the process of getting a divorce before my death because we were done. We were over. Like he's saying that we had already moved on from each other. And he's also saying that we weren't even together when we had my son. So he's saying that we had been done with one another. I was already in another relationship and this marriage pretty much was over, but he's acknowledging that, there was a lot of love there and a lot of lust too as well, because I could see where he really was attracted to her physically. So he's saying that that's what would keep him coming back, even after the romance and the love was gone. But he does have a lot of respect and a lot of love for her. He acknowledges that that's the mother of his child. And he said that we will be binded together forever because we do have a child together. And And that's pretty much the energy that I'm getting in regards to the marriage. And Faith feels the same way. She also feels like, my apologies, family. Y'all might be having a lot going on in my background, but we family, so it's okay. But yes, this is the energy that I'm getting from this marriage. And on her end too, she acknowledges that that's the father of her child, and there will always be a bond there, and there will always be love there, because there's a lot of general love between the two of them. But it's a lot more that Spirit is telling me. So I'm definitely going to do a general reading on him and let you guys in on this tea. Um, because things were not all as they seemed. So, yep, I'm gonna just leave it there, and I'm gonna do another reading on him. I'm gonna actually start my enlightenment series really soon, so you guys be looking out for that as well. And I'll be doing my flashback Fridays and all types of stuff. Y'all know I'm a procrastinator, so I'll be taking my time, but it's worth the wait. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning into this reading today. I appreciate you, family. Leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think of the reading. Any requests, drop them down below. I see a lot of you guys are viewing the videos, but you're not clicking that subscribe button. So please subscribe, like, all of that good stuff. And I think I'll do another reading a little later on today and maybe post it this evening, you guys. So I don't know. But just stay tuned and we'll see what happens. If you guys have any suggestions for general readings, let me know in the comment section and I'll make sure I put that on my list, okay? You have a wonderful Sunday, loves. Be easy like Sunday morning. Peace, love, and enlightenment.